What are the most common mistakes painters make when prepping a vehicle for paint? We're going to find out next. Not all of us are Boy Scouts when it comes to prepping a vehicle for paint. Sometimes we're lazy, sometimes we rush, and sometimes we feel like we know it all. Sometimes we fall into bad habits too. Here are the most common paint prep mistakes and how they can be avoided. Rushing. A lot of times, mistakes get made because of rushing. For example, you forget to put on gloves, but decide it will be okay anyway. Not verifying color before the car gets to the paint shop. Some body shops wait until a car hits the booth to check color, instead of making color check a part of paint prep. Color verification needs to be one of the very first things done. Improper handling of parts. Parts are painted and then either dropped, scratched, or damaged before being put back on the car. Priming and painting over bad bodywork. Even though the bodywork has pinholes or imperfections, the painter assumes they can prime over it or put putty into a few spots. Not applying a clean room mentality to the paint shop. A lot of time is spent sanding for trash at the end, where it could have been avoided in the beginning if the right steps had been taken to make sure the car was cleaned correctly, the booth was clean, the proper filters were in the booth, and the painter had a clean paint suit on. Mistakes happening in the front of the shop. Maybe a manager hasn't necessarily communicated to the rest of the techs all that's supposed to be repaired. Or you don't have a production manager or lead painter who does that. Or you don't have a regular morning meeting to discuss the jobs of the day and how you're going to work on them or who's going to do what. Blending. You can't just blend in the first 6 inches of the adjacent panel and expect to have a proper color match. You have to stretch that blend out a little further. Blending is something that's needed no matter what the color is, using the bulk of the panel to blend on because you're creating an optical illusion. Tri-coats. Making a letdown panel to find out how many coats of mid-coat needed to be applied to achieve a proper color match is essential, yet many painters don't do this. The one rag habit. Wax and grease remover is meant to be put on with a wet rag and then wiped off with clean, dry rags. Most painters use spritz bottles, spray the wax and grease remover on, then only wipe it with one rag. So basically they are getting part of the wax and grease remover off, but are smearing the rest of it around. The film dries on there and the contaminant stays on. Believing if you use an adhesion promoter, you don't have to sand the panel really well. While that may have been true in the past, it is not anymore. Incorrect treatment of E-coat, specifically sanding through it and then painting directly on it without sealing it first. This will cause it to peel down the road because UV rays from sunlight will come through the clear coat and base coat and hit the E-coat and it will oxidize. Not taking the time to remove moldings, door handles, mirrors, and more. This can cause unnecessary paint edges as well as dry spray that can lead to poor adhesion and an unsightly appearance. Not protecting adjacent panels, glass, and other non-removable items, which can cause costly repairs if damaged during the repair process. Sanding either too much or too little on a blend panel. Although it is important to completely degloss the entire blend panel, the technician should use caution to avoid breaking through an edge, especially where no paint is to be applied. I think we can all agree that avoiding these top paint prep mistakes can save us a lot of money. I'm Jason Stahl. Thanks for watching.